Welcome to Mainly Stories podcast.
Hi.
Today we're joined by the problem child himself, Kaileb Hyland.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
But yeah.
While Alex was setting up, there was a guy who walked, because we're in this alleyway.
Dodgy little alleyway. This is now the Alleyway Stories podcast.
Yeah. And a guy walked out and he was walking his dog. And,
and Kaileb goes, we're just filming for OnlyFans. And he did not think that was very funny.
He was not a fan of it. He just stared us down and kept walking his dog. And we're like, all right, cool.
But that's the joys of the fucking comedy game. So how you feeling, man? First festival run?
I'm excited, nervous.
Yeah. Where are you doing it?
Bard's Apothecary.
Oh, sick. I just did the blowout comedy competition there on Saturday. It's such a sick venue.
Yeah, it is. I'm keen.
Really cool.
I saw some shows there last year, so
yeah,
really excited.
Super, and like a really good like walking traffic. Kind of if you like have to bark a few people in as well. There's people floating around.
Barking, so.
Dude, I was barking for the first time on Wednesday for my new room. I've never felt more invisible than standing on a street corner with a flyer. I'm like, hey, you. It's like, no.
Yeah. Do you think getting rejected by women is bad enough?
I bet you're just invisible.
But people get like so you have this, it's like your art form and something you really care about and love, and like we're all crazy and obsessed with it. And then you're like, hey, come see me do my thing. And people almost get like,
there's disdain for it.
Yeah, offended that you.
Oh,
and
dude.
It's literally them going, that's disgusting.
Yeah, you suck and I hate you.
They would
almost
be more impressed if you just like whipped your cock out.
Yeah, genuinely, dude.
They're just like, oh.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, normal. Yeah, it's not what I was expecting. But yeah, I just and I'd watch people clock me and then cross the street and then cross again. I was like, I'm just trying to get you guys in to laugh. Fuck.
Yeah, I worked out a way for it, and it's kind of like
you give me some secrets.
Yeah, well, like I don't know if I should, but like I've already said it.
We can edit it out.
But like what I do, because like humor is a very like personal thing, and I learnt it from barking, handing out flyers, because I've done solo shows previously.
Yeah.
And handing out and doing that stuff, and it's not fun. It is degrading and demoralising. And
it's also hard to go into a show straight after you've like been barking for an hour and just like gone through that ringer of people just like, I hate you, leave me alone.
It's very humbling.
Yeah.
But you also got to understand as well, there's certain people, because I think with that comes down to a science. So there's two types of people in this world, and it's just basic. I've never done improv.
Yeah.
But I find the rules of improv are applied to life. So there's people that will build on it, and they'll go, yes, and?
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh. And then they're open to opportunities, and they're usually more glasses half full. They're not as cynical. They're more opportunistic.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's other people that are, they'll go, no, and just shut it down.
Yeah.
And then they're just scared of new opportunities. They don't want to build on it.
For sure.
They don't see anything open from that.
Yeah.
And that's the energy when I'm barking or doing comedy or anything like that. And just even, it comes to like a life lesson.
Yeah, try and be yes-anding to...
Yeah. And that's what I try and do with everything, and go like, all right, where does that go? How does that... So that's the people you want to try and attract.
Yeah. And those are the kind of people you want in the fucking room.
Yeah. Because if they're just cynical cunts going like, this sucks, this is fucking...
And we've all had those audience members where like, they just come in stone-faced the whole time. You're like, why are you here?
Why do you exist?
Yeah,
like genuinely. I had a friend who, at a previous workplace, it's absolutely fucking horrible. But
hit me.
Shout out to Sasha, he's the man. He used to have this saying, and I still live by it today, and he's like, if you're unattractive, you're fat, and you don't have a good personality, what's the point in fucking living? And he's like, you don't bring anything to this world.
I was like, fuck, where's this going? Yeah, for sure though, dude. I mean, I think all of us as comics have got like some weird thing that we fucking... It was funny, I was talking to this chick on a dating app last night, and she was like, oh, yuck, you're a comedian? I dated a comedian. Do you have some weird inferiority complex as well? And I was like, well, yeah, that's why I get on stage every night and try and make people laugh that I don't know. Like, what do you mean? But it was just,
back to barking.
Yeah.
So humour is a very like personal, not quite intimate, but it's very like personal.
Yeah.
Because you got to think how many times has someone shown you like a TikTok or something, and then you're watching it, and then you're like, oh my god, this is like
this is it, and it's like a 3-minute one, and you're like.
And you just sit in there going, like, ISIS, please send an airstrike and wipe me out where I'm standing right here.
Please let there be a drone strike right now.
It'll be better than anything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
That's why, so, because even for like, I don't know about you, but even though you try and be yes Andy, like with comedians, unless you see something that's funny and you go like, oh, you'll check it out. If someone goes, oh, check out this person, you're a bit like, I don't know, until you see their
You're always a bit cynical, and then someone makes you laugh and you're like, okay.
And if someone just says like, go check out this random person, you're like, I don't know if it's worth an hour of my time. Yeah. So when I bark or spruik or handing out flyers or anything like that, when people are walking by, I'll pick on something like a physical usually like an item of clothing or something, or if they're in a group, I don't know, like I'm not autistic, but I go like full Rain Man and just like go pattern recognition. So if there's a group of girls, because all white girls apparently try and say they're not all the same, but they all dress the same. So they'll be out on a night out and they'll all be wearing the same fucking dad jeans. Yeah. And so I'll go like, oh, come see my comedy show. It's for girls on a night out wearing denim. And they'll all laugh. And that activates that reptilian part of their brain going, oh, that's me. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, like, pick out something individual about them rather than just give them the same. So if you were walking past, I'd go like, oh, come see my comedy festival show. It's for guys wearing sunnies on their head. I thought you were going to go with, it's for fat alcoholics. Oh, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't want to get punched in the face. I have a very punchable face. Nah, man, I would never. I've been punched too many times. Ask my stepdad. Throwing fucking hate, dude. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, though, that you got to get comfortable doing. And I think getting on stage and eating shit is way worse than barking. So like, if you're just like, whatever. To a certain extent. Yeah. If you bark for long enough, it gets pretty rough. I've seen it happen a couple of times. There's one room, it was on Chapel Street, and there was this absolute fucking 10. Yeah, just smoke show walking. Came off the tram, walking through. She's obviously on her way to like Electric or some club or some shit. Doing way better than come seeing us fucking idiot open mic. They're like, hey, I know that you've probably got plans that are really cool. Yeah, yeah. Well, like, I was like, hey, do you want to come see comedy? It's for women wearing knee-high boots. And she didn't even acknowledge my existence. You're invisible to that person. And you're like, okay, cool. One day though, you know, when we're selling out arenas, they'll be like, hey, can I come to your show? And it'll be great. So how long have you been in the game? A couple of years now? Yeah, 2 years. Sick. In Jan. Very nice. So is this your second solo show for the festival? I didn't do a festival show last year, so I kind of wanted to learn, get in amongst it, see where's good, where's not. So I had my goal. I wanted somewhere in the CBD, good traffic, because I saw if it's outside of that, if it's in like the Fitzroy area, you're not going to get the foot traffic. And I think in the city at that time of year, people are walking around looking for comedy to go and watch, whereas you sort of have to be, I guess, like purposefully trying to find a show in the outer 100%. Suburbs where you're not going to get just the pop-ins as much, I guess. What sort of, give us a rundown, so like how you started in Melbourne, what made you get into it? I always wanted to do it. I was always too scared. Yeah. And then I had people in my life, so I brought up the idea, and they were terrible people in my life. It was a bad point. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, I want to do it. I want to give it a go. I reckon it could be fun. And then they were like, nah, you're not funny enough. And I was like, but that kind of lights a fire under your ass a little bit. Like, no, it didn't, actually. Did it? It put it out. Really? So I didn't do it for a couple of years after that. And it didn't seem like it was tangible. It didn't seem like it was a real thing. And I ended up in between the lockdowns, I went and saw Russell Howard. Yep. And he just hired the Athenaeum Theatre for a workout show. Yeah, just as you do. Yeah, that's where I do my working out, absolutely. And he was there with like a notepad and pen, and he's just like reading off it and going like, oh yeah, that was shit, that worked. And I was like, is that? What is this? Yeah. So then after that, I started writing for a year, and then dealing with like mental health issues and stuff like that. Yeah. And working shit cunt jobs. I finally gained the courage to go and do it. And then I went, and me and my mate sat at the Cellars.
Yep.
In the front row.
What a place. It's birthed so many comedy careers. Pretty much everyone on this podcast is like Cellars. But I think it's been in every podcast that I've done.
Yeah, yeah. It is the pinnacle of the Melbourne comedy scene. But it, the host at the time, me and my mate sat in the front row, and we didn't know it was an unwritten rule that you don't sit in the front of the audience because it was our first time. We didn't know any better. And we were both just having panic attacks and freaking out.
Just sitting there like, what have I done?
Yeah. Oh, no, more like, what am I going to do? I'm going to eat shit. I'm going to die. I don't know. My whole body's just going to combust.
You feel like you're shutting down. You're like, I think I'm having a stroke right now.
Yeah. And then we were trying to just like remember our set, what the fuck I didn't even have anything like properly planned. Like I had some jokes that I'd written, but I was nowhere near prepared. I was like, I'll just go up there and chat shit.
And I'll figure it out.
That's what I was a comedian. Because I also had the idea that going up there and just chatting shit for an hour, doing like an hour special, I thought it was piss easy. Like I was like, I've seen Chappelle and like Jimmy Carter.
I can talk for an hour, no worries. It's an hour.
But the host got very angry and he wasn't doing very well.
Oh no.
And he had a joke about how his girlfriend gets mixed up with the Holocaust, gets the word Holocaust and roller coaster mixed up with their accent.
Okay, yeah.
And we laughed at that because both me and my mate have very fucked up senses of humour and we're horrible people.
Yeah.
He
Same.
He got angry at us and turned around and he's like, really? You laugh at nothing, but you laugh at Holocaust. And then I had a panic attack and freaked out and left and just bailed because the host
you were just like, nah, this is too much.
I pussied out.
Yeah.
And then I rocked up 3 months later and then had to go then.
Yeah. I mean, it is like that. Hey, like, I had a similar thing that I've talked about ad nauseum on this pod, but like, you get to a point where you're like, well, I want to do this thing, so I've got to just fucking suck it up and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's literally...
if I'm going to do it, then I've got to do it now.
And I came back 3 months later, did pretty well. I probably didn't like crush, but I still got laughs and stuff. And it felt like a lifetime. It felt like an out-of-body experience. Like I was watching myself in like a third-person like video game, like RPG.
That first good set is like the high that we're all chasing. It's You walked off and you was like...
I literally came off and I was like shaking. Like I was like the adrenaline. And I came off and it felt like a fucking lifetime.
Isn't it good? And now 5 minutes feels like 30 seconds. Oh shit, I'm out of time.
And then I asked my mate and I was like, how long was that? And he was like, 3.5 minutes. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh my god. So was your mate try it start as well? Or?
Yeah, he did it a bit. He doesn't do it as much anymore. He just does other stuff. And
okay.
Yeah, he's more into like MMA and other things. And
sick.
He didn't take it too seriously. He'd go up every now and then. But since then I was hooked. Yeah. I would do 2 to 3, get up everywhere, annoy everyone. Message people, ask, run rooms, like 3-4 months in. 9 months in, I did my first hour.
Fuck yeah. That's awesome,
so
man.
I just have a very kick the door down, just get the fucking...
Well, I think that's the way you got to be in this industry, man. Like, I don't know if you've seen the Ralphie May stand-up masterclass YouTube video.
I think I've started watching it, but I got bored.
Yeah, well, I did. Fair enough. It's not for everybody, but it was like that. And he had this attitude of like, if you want opportunities, go fucking run a show. Figure out a way to get on stage. Don't like complain, I can't get spots. Just go figure out how to make a stage somewhere.
And from doing that, from the trials and tribulations, or like the trial by fire, I learned.
You figure it out,
Yeah, and because I was just a fucking idiot, and it's the only way I am. That's why my show is called Problem Child, because I always get myself in trouble, and I cause problems. Yeah. And then like I'm always just either saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing, and people just get pissed off by my existence because I'm just sometimes a bit too much.
I like your existence.
That's it. But like, it's like just certain things. So I opened the room in Frankston, and so I was a fucking idiot and only knew like Cellars and a few other.
And you're like, there's no rooms in Frankston.
So I opened one, and then all the other gigs I'd done, because I was like 4 months in, and it was this new la-di-da like restaurant that had like a club upstairs that opened, but during the week they weren't doing very well because it was like start of winter.
So it's just like a slow period of time.
But they had a massive venue upstairs. I thought like I'll do it as a sign up.
Yeah.
But I didn't know people from Melbourne, and because I thought like, oh, I travel to Frankston to the city all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't have my license, so I was doing it all by train.
Jesus,
all
man.
the time.
Yeah.
So it'd be like 2 hours, like train PT for like a 3-minute spot.
Nice.
And
I've done that same shit.
I thought they would come down and do the same thing. The venue for the first night, they did a promo for free beer.
Fuck. And
So it was over 100 people rocked up in attendance.
That's awesome.
I was emceeing my first MC gig.
Like, whoa, there's a lot of people here. Jesus. Yeah, that's trial by fire.
I promised the venue that I reckon there'd be 20 acts rocking up. They all get 5 minutes each.
Yeah. So yeah, what's that, like a hour and 40-minute show type thing?
Yeah, sort of thing. And then maybe, about that 2 hours, but like a 10, 20 minute break in the middle. Yeah. 5 acts rock up.
Ooh, man.
I did my first half an hour. The show went for an hour. It was fucking awful.
Yeah. And you're just like, so what do you do for work?
Shout out to the guys for doing, not even that, dude. I was just throwing bombs, bro. It just sucked.
just chugging
eating
out
shit in front of 100 people. They're all drunk on free beer. They rocked it.
Free beer in Frankston and you're dying.
Not to mention, because I didn't know any better, and the venue, we were all fucking idiots. There was no proper lighting. They had the house lights on.
Yeah.
It was a fucking repeat of the Lakers game on the plasma behind me.
Dude.
It was a hell gig. Yeah, but the guys that did rock up, there was like Dave Greaves, I think it was McDing, it was William Zhang, he was really early in, he rocked up.
Oh, sick.
Like there's a few other people as well, I can't remember exactly, but they all did really well.
Yeah.
And they lifted, and yeah.
Well, it's one of those things, like, you don't know until you try.
Yeah.
And then you sort of figure out, because, like, room running is different even to just doing stand-up. Because you're in charge of promotion.
And emceeing.
Yeah, emceeing's fucking hard. I talked about it. Because Zach James started because his mate quit and then he just had to MC.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd never been on stage and he was just like, yeah, I've just got to do it. I was like, I found, like, I'd been doing stand-up for 2 months before I MC'd anywhere and I was still like, this is awkward. Like, fucking.
Yeah, it takes a bit.
Yeah. But then you get into the swing of things and realise that, like, you know, as long as you can get the energy somewhat up and kind of maybe chuck a one-liner in or two.
That's all I know to do with emceeing.
Yeah.
And some of the guys are just like, even can you, like, tone it down a bit, bro? And I'm like, all I've got is WWE in it, so bro, that's all you
This
can
is
get.
SmackDown right now. Like Monday Night fucking Raw, let's go.
Next week, you fighting The Undertaker, player.
Oh, I'd love to see you do a WWE bit just to warm up the crowd, but full in Captain Insano voice, just fucking going nuts. But yeah, so then moving into this new hour, like, how did you write? So your first hour you did after 9 months, which people don't know, that's a huge amount of material to come up with in 9 months.
Yeah.
How are you feeling the difference in sort of your progression from then to now?
I'm super excited because, like, I do like 5 to like 8 spots a week, and I run rooms and just keep going, and just a lot of people in the scene and around. Like, not like I don't want to like blow smoke up my ass, but I've just heard feedback from people that I'm just getting better and better. Like, I got through my first heat of Raw, which was like, because I did it Raw at the SB was like my 3rd or 4th gig. I was in front of 200 people.
I think it was my 5th, and I was like, what the fuck? I had like 6 beers before I got on stage. I was shaking, and I was like, choke.
My hands were just like sweaty, and I just kept having to like, so I was scared.
I used to have this weird, I had this weird leg quiver where my leg would go like
the dude on Kill Tony.
Yeah, genuinely. I was like, no, stop it. And I was like bending my knees to try and stop it. So I was like just standing there like this the whole time. It looked like I was trying to take a shit. But yeah, it's exciting, man. So 2 years, like, second hour in 2 years is massive.
Oh, it's not second, it's the same. So it's just when I've been working, but I've just taken bits and pieces out.
Yeah.
That, so just continuously working on it.
For sure.
Better.
Yeah.
So, because it was the whole show was, it's still called Problem Child.
Yeah.
One thing that was really cool that, I don't know if many people know, but, so with my advertising, I would put my posters in AC/DC Lane, because it's obviously,
sick, yeah.
so the whole thing, so it's named after an AC/DC song. That's kind of the branding and aesthetic. Like my poster, I'm doing a spoof of Angus. So I've got an SG, I'm in a schoolboy uniform. I've got a hat, but instead of A for Angus, I've got a K for Kaileb.
Yeah.
I put
it's sick branding, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I like it.
I put it, one of the ones I did in Voltaire, there was like Tom Stanimiros, Stephen Bradshaw, and Montana Papadinas. They opened for me.
Sick.
And I put the poster in AC/DC Lane. But there was a band that toured, I think it was Infectious Grooves.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sick.
so they're like kind of like Faith No More, Chili Peppers, like groovy, funky, but kind of like punk mixed in from the 90s.
Yeah.
And their original bass player was Rob Trujillo. Do you know who that is?
No, but that sounds familiar.
Bass player for Metallica.
Oh, wow.
And then their drummer, because he just got fired from Slipknot, was Jay Weinberg.
Right. So this is big dog band.
Yeah. So he got fired from Slipknot, and he was drumming and on tour with Infectious Grooves.
Yeah.
While they're on tour, because it's around the corner from the Palais, I think.
Okay.
In the city.
Yeah.
And so they were taking photos in the AC/DC Lane.
Yeah.
And Metallica is my favourite band, and I'm seeing them this year.
And so you're just like fan, you can see him.
Yeah, so Rob Hyland, he's a famous like rock and metal photographer from the 70s. He's like photographed Zeppelin, the Stones, Metallica, like fucking anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
And he just goes on tour, travels the world with them, takes photos from them. They were doing a photo shoot in AC/DC Lane, and Rob Trujillo's standing there posing, and then my comedy poster right behind Rob Trujillo, my favourite band. And like, I play guitar and I play bass, but I started with bass.
Yeah.
And he does this thing where he like crab walks and he like spins and shit.
Yeah.
I used to watch like hours of YouTube videos.
That's so
of
sick,
him,
man.
like, and then I would like play and like do shit like, it's pretty.
Man, that must have been such a surreal moment, just like seeing it in the photo and you're like,
yeah,
wow.
I was in bed naked and just like, didn't even have my glasses on. And it was just like, what the fuck? And then
that's an instant boner. You're like, this is fucking...
Straight into the family WhatsApp was just like, check this out.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's sick. Yeah, it's exciting, dude, for sure. Because as you say, it's like... And it's good to have kind of the hour as a point, because we're all sort of working all the time, as you say, getting up, running rooms. Then it's nice to have kind of like a... this is what I'm working towards, and like having a show that you're proud of and that you've been working on for a couple of years.
And it's an exciting thing, like when you get there or anyone else that gets there, when you see your name on it and then you have people rock up.
Yeah.
And then, putting your name and brand on it. Because just from listening to a lot of like punk and metal and rock music growing up, it's like, especially Henry Rollins and some of the guys like, I think when they started like listening to guys like Green Day or Blink, their early days, they would like drive around in vans just like with a loudspeaker just announcing that they've got this gig in some basement in the middle of buttfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
But they would just drive around in their mate's car with a megaphone just shouting everywhere to let people know, or put posters up. And
you're just figuring out a way to get the word out kind of thing. And
and that's kind of my whole mentality and attitude, just going, fuck it, just go out and do it, and you learn. And it's the only way that you can get better and progress and get...
For sure. And that's the thing with advertising as well. Like, I got a mate that works in advertising. He was like, think of your strategy as just like chucking shit at a wall and seeing what works for your brand and your individual thing. So you can try sketches, and you can try podcasting, and you can try flyering, and you've got to sort of try all these different avenues to see what resonates with like your audience, you know, the most, or the people that you're trying to get into your show. Because it's hard, because it's such a saturated thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like you really sort of got to try and find those points of difference, I think, in like trying to get people to come. You can only rely on the friends and family bandwagon for so long. Like, I don't even like doing that. I don't know. How do you feel about people you know coming to watch you do stand-up?
Family, not a fan of. They're not a fan of me doing it, so that's a whole thing in itself.
Yeah.
I don't mind friends and stuff. It's all right, just as long as I can't see them in the crowd.
Yeah. And I prefer them to surprise me. Don't tell me that you're coming.
Yeah.
Like I had
definitely that. Yeah.
I had on Wednesday 3 blokes I went to high school with that I hadn't seen in 10 years. Just rocked up to the show, and it's like fully light, daylight, no darkness. And I was like, but it was fine. It was great, and they had a good time. But I was like, if you had have told me that you were coming, I would have been way more stressed than I was.
That's good. Yeah.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? Like getting up and doing random dick jokes in front of a room of strangers. Walk in the park. It's still tough at times, but like, you know, but if you know people in there and you bomb, it's like...
Oh, it's brutal. I've had that happen.
Yeah, so have I. It's fucking... Yeah. And then you get there like, well, good on you for giving it a crack, hey? Like, kind of thing. But, yeah, man, it's exciting. So how do you find room running? Do you enjoy it?
I find it's tough. It's challenging.
Yeah.
And then it's trying to deal with the politics and...
Yeah. People trying to jump on and it's...
Yeah. And then people that... Because you're trying to have it at a certain level. We just experienced this.
She might be watching.
Yeah. I doubt it. Yeah. I don't even think she knows how to use anything other than Internet Explorer. So
that's a stretch.
Yeah.
But yeah, people...
If she thought, like, heard podcast, she'd probably think it was something that you'd put a lure in.
Yeah, and chuck like a pod on the end of a fishing rod or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is tough, like, managing people and, like, people who aren't sort of at a certain level yet but really want to get on, and or people that are, like, taking it serious. I've been
that person, and it's good to see people are hungry and they want to go after it. But there's also, you've got to understand where you've got to get better, and there's some people that don't understand that. Yeah. And either you got to gig more, you got to get better at writing.
Yeah.
Got to get better at performing. So, like, how to bounce back from a bomb, or like the material might be good, but it's how you present it as well. Just
stagecraft in general. Because it is a multifaceted thing. I'd love to know, because I was talking to Tom about this. Like, what do you find the toughest thing about stand-up? Because we were talking about, like, sitting down and writing, I find challenging.
Yeah, I find that challenging too.
But then, like, I think that frames you for the rest of the day to then be, like, thinking about jokes. But, yeah, what's your sort of, like, progression through that and your process, I guess?
I think for me, one thing that I found difficult, and because you can get stuck in a rut, and I see people get stuck there and they just don't get out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you need to... it's about the energy that you hold within yourself as well. Yeah. Because the energy that you put out, because it comes down to, like, the law of attraction. Yeah. So there's so much, this is why I love stand-up and I'm obsessed with it, because there's so much that it's helped me with, like, my personal life, my mental health, so many other things that I can learn and apply to other things. But there's so much about it with your natural energy, with your law of attraction, the energy you put out and emit. Yeah. That's how the audience will react to you. So if you're nervous and all tight and tense and not sure, that's how the audience are going to act.
Oh, absolutely.
And respond.
Yeah.
But if you're loose, having fun, just, like, I just try and go up there and have the energy that I'm just chatting shit with my mates.
Just having a good time. I know I've said this many times, but it's like being the guy who we are when we hang out and trying to bullshit and make each other laugh, and trying to do that on stage. Yeah. I think is like...
And it's a hard thing to get there to do it. Yeah. And there was quite a while where I was stuck, like, I just had the yips where I just fucking sucked.
Yeah, well, dude, and that's
like 3 months.
Did you have this thing? Because, like, I think everyone goes through it to a degree. Like, first 3 months, you're like, I could be the best stand-up.
Oh, 100%.
And then after that, you're like, I actually suck at stand-up. Yeah. And I don't think I'm going anywhere with this. And then you sort of ebb and flow through, like...
I still have that now.
Yeah, dude. It's like, I'll have a week where I'm like, all of my jokes are shit, and anyone who's laughed at them's an idiot. And I don't know why I'm even... And then you'll have, like, 2 great sets, and you're like, I'm basically the best. This is... you know, next level. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's mental gymnastics, I think.
It is. It is. And it's one of the only... I don't know, it's such a weird art form, because you could be like a band and you can go out, do, like, amazing sets in different cities or at different venues and whatever, and just like fucking kill. You can be technically... all the band's tight, synced up, everyone's playing really well, no mistakes, just like fucking rocking.
Just absolutely hitting it,
in the zone. Or you could do a play, everyone's lines, they deliver, they do great. Or you do a dance routine, everyone's choreography is great and fucking do awesome. With stand-up, there's so much of that where if it's a different audience and they're just not vibing or what it is, or
you could go up and just
different town.
You could just go up and grab the mic wrong and give them the wrong first impression of you, and then they're like, nah, I don't like you.
Yeah, just fuck this guy. Yeah. Or maybe the guy before you ate shit, so you're going to try and, like, dig yourself out of it.
Or the guy, like, murdered. I went on after in Queensland, this musical comedy group who ran around getting people to sing into the microphone, and then it's like, all right, and now Alex Main for normal stand-up. And I was like, this could be tough. It ended up being great because they were a generous crowd, but, you know, there's some acts that are hard to follow for both reasons, because they're too good and they're too, you know, had an off night, let's say.
There's one thing with that as well, where some people might get it, or you get to a certain level where you get there, where I've done gigs where I've been the headliner. Yeah. And, like, because I'm quite competitive as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And to keep me something driving and keep going, it's because I'm very much inspired by Kobe, and I love Kobe and his Mamba mentality. Yeah. One thing with those people that that were bad people in my life at that time, that told me I shouldn't chase the dreams, and because they're the people to tie back into the improv life sort of thing. They were the people that would know and shut things down, control. I imagined that they're in the room, right? I'm crushing,
and then you're just like, "Fuck you!" Yeah. That's spiteful. Like, I'm succeeding and you guys were wrong is a huge thing. And I think it's like, and first of all, good on you for recognizing these people are fucking not doing my life, because I think a lot of people you can lose, you know, tens of decades hanging around with people that are just like, you know, everything sucks, life's shit, don't bother doing anything, poor me, and it's infectious, man. Like, I've had people that I've cut out of my life when it's like, when life seems to be happening to them, it's like, no, go out and get what you want. Like, there's no one's coming to save you, no one's coming to fucking, you know, like, you've got to go out and make what you want to happen.
There's
like,
so many people that I see in this scene as well that they just keep doing the same jokes. They eat shit. They bomb.
They don't change anything.
Terrible. They don't change anything. Week in, week out, it's the same material, and they just think if they do the reps, they'll get there. Yeah, but it doesn't work like that.
They're missing out on the point of a rep is to, like, okay, figure out what to change.
Yeah. And there's also, so with that, or people that just keep doing it and they don't push themselves, they don't go out there, they don't try and do things. They just think there's going to be a golden ticket and someone's going to see him, some agent.
Yeah, one day Jim Jeffries is going to walk into an open mic show with two people and be like, you're coming on tour.
Yeah. And they're going to think that it's like all these like biopic movies where there's the manager there going like, oh, you're going to see your name in lights,
you're going to be a star.
You're going to be a star. It doesn't happen that way. It's all self-made. You've got to build it. You've got to push. I don't think they also realise how small the glass ceiling in Australia is as well.
Yeah.
How small.
Well, I saw this quote and it was like go for big shit, because like too many people are focused on what's realistic and obtainable. Yeah. It's like, for what, if you don't, like, go for the fucking top thing, because there are less people doing that than you think. Because everyone kind of puts that ceiling on themselves. Yeah. Of like, oh, I could only maybe get into like a small radio regional station and then that would be enough. It's like, fuck that. Like, I want to take over the goddamn universe and then get cancelled for doing something stupid.
100%. Like, there was a thing I saw, because tying it back to music and stuff like that. Yeah. There was a video I saw the other day, and it was of Noel Gallagher. And he says, so it's a lot with like comedy and stuff. And, like the way I see it or perceive it with comedy. Because what Noel Gallagher's quote was, he was saying, fuck the consumer. Do you think the Beatles, when they wrote Sgt. Pepper's, went, you know what the people want? They'll like this. They put it out there, the people loved it, they gave it to them. Yeah. Do you reckon Hendrix, when he was playing guitar, was like, oh, I reckon the masses will love this? He went, no, fuck it, I'm going to do my guitar solos, this is going to be mad. Yeah. Fuck the consumer. For sure. Put it out there. Same with the Sex Pistols. They went ate it up. People making art that you think is cool and fucking telling you. And that's the same thing, like when people, like I've had people ask me, which I find so funny, like, what do you think I should do for Raw? It's like, well, I've never fucking gotten through it, so don't ask me, but I'm like, just do things that you think are funny. Yeah, like maybe don't lead with your Holocaust jokes. That might be a little bit of a bad idea, but, you know, like, I don't think you should do stuff that you don't think's funny. You know, don't try and, like, I don't know, please a certain judge panel. Like, if you've got cleaner, I think it's good to try and write clean as well as writing dirty. But, yeah,
like,
it's important.
For sure. But, like, don't write because you think other people enjoy it. Write stuff that you're writing it and you're like, I get to say this in front of people. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, definitely. And you're never going to please anyone. Like, this is what drives me nuts about all the stuff where they try and tick all the boxes. They have, we've got someone from this demographic, we've got someone from this demographic, we've got to play in these rules and these boundaries. Like, you can't keep everyone happy. We have elections every couple of years or so, and like, we can barely fucking agree on that.
Yeah.
Like, you think everyone's gonna... You can't make it, like, mass appeal for everyone. And so many people... Like, I got into an argument with my family about this because they were arguing with me about the content of my jokes.
Yeah.
There's, like, different genres with, like, comedy, same as music or as there are with films.
For sure.
So there's obviously, like, hardcore death metal, or there's country or easy listening pop,
or
like
Taylor Swift. Like, like... You don't have to listen to this. If you don't like this kind of comedy, then you don't have to watch it.
Yeah,
like,
and then there's brutal Norwegian death metal where they're talking about, like, fucking skulls that they just cut off, like, people's heads. And then just, like, play that to your grandma and she'd just be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It is funny. Like, I've had this conversation with my parents a lot. And they're like, you know, you just got to be careful. You don't know. It's like, listen, I love you, but don't try and tell me what to say in my jokes. Like, I get what you're saying, but trust me, I know what I'm doing at this point. Like, it's, you know, and I think you want to attract the audience that resonates with the kind of shit that you like to write at the end of the day.
And for me as well, like, a lot of the stuff I talk about, and because with people with how they say, like, like, we need trigger warnings, or you can't talk about that, or it's not okay to talk about that. The reason with me talking about it is because with certain topics, whether either it's like racial violence, domestic violence, sexual assault, things like that, the only way you'll hear about it is either through the news, it happens to someone you know, or it happens to you.
For sure. And so like, having another outlet for that, of someone who that might be their lived experience is, you know.
Yeah, and it's a way for someone to maybe hear a different opinion about it, expressed through humour and storytelling, that it might change their mind, and they might get because so much, everyone's so defensive, because I just see everyone, they just have their defences and their barriers up.
Yeah, a lot of people will be like, hear the concept of a joke or a premise and they'll shut down.
Yeah, or like, even just when it's dealing with information, or just talking about certain topics and things.
For sure.
So I think anything should be off limits with that, so that you can express these ideas. Because it drives me nuts, because I grew up in a religious family, and dealing with these people, like, because I see the, like, people from Melbourne with the shit haircuts and fucking they get angry at those jokes and shit. They react the same as when my grandparents do whenever you would talk about witchcraft or werewolves and shit, because they were just like, it goes against God and the Bible, and they would like, oh, we can't talk about that. No, it's not. God doesn't like it. Blah,
that
blah.
Instantaneous hysteria is a bit like...
Yeah, and it feels the same as they shut down and get like...
Yeah, and I think, man, like, whenever someone gets like that emotional that they shut down and can't have a like logical conversation about things, or logically say, like, I'm at a stand-up comedy show right now. This doesn't have to be serious.
Yeah.
I think it's just...
And it's all make pretend. It'd be the same if it was a play.
Yeah,
if it was a movie.
Well, that's the thing. People watch violent, horrific murder porn TV shows.
Yeah.
And they're like, you can't joke about killing people. That's not funny. It's like, well, kind of is funny sometimes. Like, you know, it's... I agree with you completely. Like, I don't think there's any subject that you shouldn't talk about.
Yeah, I think it's depending on the way...
Yeah, obviously, there's taste... Like, if I start getting up and telling jokes about race, and that's my whole set, probably not a great look. But if you know, you...
And like, there's some comedians as well, like I love Ricky Gervais, but sometimes I feel like he goes in there to piss people off. And
like the deliberate contrarian.
Yeah,
like,
just going like, fuck you, I'm atheist, fuck you, all you religious people.
For sure.
Even like Isaac Butterfield's a bit like that as well, and I'm like...
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's just, you know, like... And that's their thing, you know, but I think, and it's a lane people enjoy, but I mean, the main reason I do stand-up is I like making people happy and making people laugh. Like, it's fun.
Same.
There's no better feeling than when people come up to you after a show and like, can I buy you a beer? You know, that was so funny. I love your joke about this, and you're like, it hasn't happened to me yet. I'm waiting for it one day. I pray every morning and night. But, you know, it's like, yeah, it's okay to be controversial, but that deliberate, like, fuck you thing just isn't my personal thing.
Yeah, that's not my thing as well. And I saw Daniel Sloss in Melbourne last time. It was at the exhibition centre.
Yeah.
And he said, it was very interesting, that you can say and joke about anything as long as they see the empathy in your eyes. Yeah,
I like that, for sure.
Yeah. So if you go on like, yeah, fuck these guys, and then that's when it's like,
Yeah, and as long as it's tasteful, you know, like it actually has to be funny, not just 100%. Like a low cut, like low. And I think that's where a lot of comics, when they start out, they try and be super edgelord, hectic, and say fucked up shit.
Because they want to say the most fucked up shit to get a reaction.
Yeah, but an ooh is not the same as a laugh.
Because it's kind of like playing basketball, and then you see like Michael Jordan dunking and doing like a windmill or like reverse, like slamming it in. And then you grabbing a basketball, never playing it before, and going like, all right, I'll jump my height.
I'm going to do a windmill dunk.
And then just failing miserably.
Then you do a Tom Segura and snap your arm.
Yeah,
like,
basically. Fuck. And then just failing, embarrassing yourself, and probably most likely injuring yourself.
Yeah, literally.
And because you haven't done all the steps. Yeah,
you need to build up to that point.
Where you can successfully dismount.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's gymnastics is what it is. Like you got to hit the landing and, you know, get a perfect 10. All right, we got 15 minutes till showtime. So,
thank you.
What do you want to play?
Come check out my show, Problem Child, Bard's Apothecary. It's on my socials, so my name is spelled funny because my mum's a dyslexic hippie. It's spelled Kaileb Hyland. It's on my socials. Problem Child. It's on the Comedy Festival website.
We'll leave a link in the description.
March 26th to April 5th.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. So come see my show, Dark Times, Dark Comedy. I am also a dyslexic hippie. And Kaileb runs rooms, King of Tonga, Royal Comedy on a Monday. And the Sunday one is called...
Chapel Comedy at Solace on Chapel on Sunday.
On Sundays. All right. We're going to get out of here. Thank you guys for listening.